Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's K-Gibbs F1 here, and welcome to FormulaXbox Rocket League's Game Week 5 Roundup, where we go through all of the matches and depict all of the week's big talking points. And the big story from Game Week 5 is that Luck continue their relentless control of the top spot of the championship table with another couple of wins to go along to their points tally. And it was a 10-0 victory against the Icemen that was their headline this week. One save from Kieran was all the Icemen could muster from this game, and after Scott's had his TV troubles that have meant loads of their fixtures have been postponed, the Icemen just cannot get going. Azar with 6 goals in that particular game in a match that Kieran described as brutal. So that's 25 goals conceded by the Icemen now in just 2 games, of course after their 15-0 defeat against Angulation Sensations just last week. So the Icemen are really in a bit of a hole at the moment, and they need to claw their way out. There was another defeat for them as well this week, as they played a Game Week 2 fixture that was actually postponed, and they took a 7-1 defeat basically against the Massive Horse. Dalbian was on absolute cracking form in this match, on fire with 5 goals and aerials galore. Kieran and Scott just could not cope with Dalbian's aerial prowess in this one, and he really took the game by the scruff of the neck and was largely responsible for the scale of the victory they took. This obviously was the Icemen's first home match as well, so it was the first time we saw them in their Neo Tokyo arena, and they chose it because they thought it would be difficult for opponents to really get to grips with, and it looks at the moment like it's difficult for the Icemen to get to grips with, to be honest. Angulation Sensations, moving on to them, of course the stars of last week, entering with an absolute bang with that victory against the Icemen 15-0, really kicking things off well for them. They actually beat Matkev this week 7-3 in what was a pretty solid game actually for Matkev. They've struggled so far this season. We've been calling them the Leicester City of former Xbox Rocket League, but they've ultimately shown some improvement this week really. Like I said, 7-3, but that didn't reflect what was a pretty solid game from them. Dan Mack with all 3 goals, Kev really solid at the back, but you just cannot cope with Angulation Sensations' deadly nature in front of goal. The Rift putting 5 past Matt Kev, and even though, as I said, those defences were fairly solid, the Rift is just too good at times. And of course Nathan Avey backing him up as well. They're a very solid team, and Luck still looking over their shoulders after another solid week for the newcomers. We also had Red Devils night, as I've called it this week, where Red Devils played 3 games in the space of an hour, and it was a pretty good return for them really. It was against 3 of FormulaXbox Rocket League's best teams, Luck, Angulation Sensations and the Central Element, and their first match against Luck was actually a 4-3 defeat for the Red Devils, but only very marginally. It was an overtime game, and with 1 minute to go the Red Devils actually led, but 2 late goals there, including the one in overtime, meant that they lost the points on that one. Drastic Midget though had a very solid game, scoring all 3 goals, 2 saves to match as well, and really did carry Drastic Devil, to be fair, in that one. But given that Drastic Devil hadn't played a massive amount in practice and in warm-up for these matches, he did a fairly solid job in all fairness. The next game came against Central Element, and it was a 3-2 win for the Red Devils. Midge on cracking form again, 2 goals, 3 saves to match as well. So frustrating for Luke and Maestro, who just could not put enough goals past the Red Devils, simply put, and Midge, as I said, on top form. Maestro had a very tricky game in that one. Luke, to be fair, scored most of the points. Maestro with just 40, so a tough match for him on that one. And then Angulation Sensations, lastly, Red Devils came up against the Formidable Force, and it was a 4-0 defeat for the Red Devils in that one, in what is a new format as well for Angulation Sensations. It was announced this week that because they're so good basically, matches are now going to be played against them a length of 2 minutes 30, so both teams screenshotting the results board at 2 minutes 30, and that will then form the actual final score. So that was a 4-0 win for them, even though it was only half a game, just showing just how strong Angulation Sensations are. So, looking to the table now after Game Week 5, as I said, Angulation Sensations looking phenomenal, but it's still Luck leading the way at the moment with another 2 victories this week and now 4 points clear of the Red Devils at the top of the table. Both have now played 8 games, and ultimately it looks like the Red Devils might have their work cut out and might be just slipping out of the title fight, despite what was a pretty solid night for them against 3 of the best teams. A massive horse with that win against the Icemen, climbing up the table again, 15 points for them from 7 games. So a game in hand, you'd imagine they will be looking to jump above Red Devils next week if they can get that game in hand played as well. Angulation Sensations, though, the formidable force, as I mentioned earlier, they've played half the games that Luck have, and they're already on 12 points, so just 8 points off top spot, and you would certainly not bet against them hitting the heights and stealing the top spot away from Luck in the coming weeks. Disconnected United then follow up, no matches from them this week, on 9 points. Team Estonia on 4, climbing onto the top half of the table there after their pretty solid week last week compared to the prior weeks. And now heading on to the bottom 4, we've got the Central Element, who've only played 3 games still, so that doesn't really reflect their skill and prowess at Rocket League, sitting after playing 3 on 3 points. Monstrous Cushion there, we didn't see them this week, they're still on 3 points. Matkev United, who very nearly had a solid game, I should say, against Angulation Sensations. It was, of course, 7-3, but showing signs of progress there, and I doubt it will be very long until they put their first win on the board. They're sitting on 2 points at the moment after a win in overtime. And the Icemen, after their dire first 2 games, minus 31 on the goal difference, 2 games lost there, as you can see, and 0 points at the moment, currently sitting at bottom of the table. So, tough week for some, great week for others. As we look at the Gold Wheel Award now, Azar, after a solid week for him, and that 10-0 crushing win against the Icemen means that he's now hit the heights and the Golden Wheel Award with 23 goals. Closely followed, though, and being caught up, you have to say, by the Rift on 19. Of course, another good week for him. That double W for Luck as well on 16. And you can see Nathan Avey of Angulation Sensations is on 11. Drastic Midget splitting up what would be a lockout for Luck and Angulation Sensations at the top of the Golden Wheel Award. So he'll want to stay there. But with the skill that those 2 teams have shown, it remains to be seen whether anyone can muscle in on what is becoming the dominance, I should say, of the series by those 2 teams. So, fantastic week there, very interesting indeed. Remember to hashtag FXRL in your tweets so that we can see those, and at FormulaXbox for any more of your comments. And of course, the comment section below is there for you to leave your thoughts, guys, on the week at hand, who you thought had the best week as well, and anything I may have missed in the commentary. But for now, at least, we shall see you in Game Week 6. I've been KGibbsF1, and until next time, we shall see you very soon. Goodbye.